Hello, everybody. How are you? It's me, Doc Normal. Believe it or not, it's 2019, and that's pretty darn insane. And oh, look, see, I'm further out, but that's okay. Anyway, happy 2019. This is a terrible open, but that's okay. Because, you know, everything's in whatever.
Yeah.
Hi. Okay, so, and over here we have Jason Allen. Say hi, Jason. How are you?
Hello, friends. It's so good to see you again.
You doing okay?
It seems like we haven't seen each other since last year, and I just wanted to touch base with you again and tell you that Dick Curmudgeon is thinking about you.
Dick Curmudgeon.
Yes.
Dick Curmudgeon. I was just
Yes.
hoping that everything was still working here.
Right.
And it is, sort of,
Right.
working. And, wow, you are close up, and I am not.
Yeah. Everything is so changed and everything. I literally, I feel like a newbie again.
You do.
Yeah.
I'm just going to adjust your camera as you speak.
Oh.
We go.
Hello, friends.
That's a little bit better.
Yeah, so I figured our first time out again in 2019, I needed to reprise the role of Dick Curmudgeon, right?
I like the role of Dick Curmudgeon.
He's been chomping at the bit. He's been deep undercover, and he's been excited to make his appearance again. So here he is.
If I can get my stupid headphones back on. Well, Dick,
Yes.
as a matter of fact, now that you say it, now I'll adjust. I'm trying to get this background back to normal. Yes, I've made some changes. Changes.
Time to face the strain.
Changes. Anyway.
Yes.
Oh, yes, there's some changes here. But anyway, now that you're back on the case, I've got your first case.
Back on the
That
case,
works.
yes.
Do you know what this is? Do you see this?
It looks like a purloined sock.
Do you see what this is?
Yes.
Look at this. Look at it.
Okay.
So I think it's clean.
Yes.
You can smell. Oh, yeah.
It's
clean.
I'm sensing that it's a sock or some garment that you put on.
You think the Desenex burger?
I'm gonna use my detective powers and tell you that this is a sock.
So I did the laundry today,
Yes.
and I got my socks out.
Excellent.
And what do I get?
One missing sock.
Yes.
The sock gremlins. Yes.
Ah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The case of the missing sock. Was that your favorite Hardy Boys? The Hardy Boys, the case of the missing sock. Gee, Chet.
If I remember right, it was a huge like crossover thing. You had you had Parker Stevenson and you had Nancy Drew. It was just this huge crossover event where they're trying to find the socks and everything, and at first they thought it was like something supernatural, right? Like maybe it's like fell into like a void sort of wormhole or whatever, and then it just turned out their kid brother was taking them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem with the missing. I'm still looking at fascinating things with streaming, like, oh, hey, we keep changing stuff. It's not so bad. You go in there and you do yeah, it is clean.
That smelled it.
It wasn't dirty. I just wanted it has that fresh, it has that fresh scent of dollar store laundry detergent.
Yes.
Which means there's enough chemicals in here to kill
a yak,
an enemy. Like, if the Russians ever come and invade, just throw your socks, cleanly washed in dollar store detergent, and they'll die of chemical. It's Geneva Convention. It really is.
Not many people know this.
Yeah.
But did you know that exact tactic was used in the KGB handbook up until 1984?
No, they won't. This is not allowed in the Geneva Convention.
That's right, socks.
Dollar store laundry detergent. It's like, whoa, that's chemical warfare there, my friend.
That's right.
I mean, how do they sell it for $1, right? It's just pretty much like, hey, what do we got laying around here? I don't know. It says toxic waste. Pour it in and put in some scent.
And if you wear it for a couple days first, it turns it into a bioweapon.
I know, exactly.
So it's multi-use.
I don't know.
But socks, yes, I've always had that for the longest time. You know me, I love a good conspiracy theory, right?
Right.
So when there's like missing socks, automatically I'm thinking either there's like a wormhole or something where it's slipping off into another plane of existence. And then I found just like a pile of mismatched socks in my son's room. Mm-hmm. And then I knew that there was more of an earthly reason why the socks were missing. The purloined socks.
So here's the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, you get a lot of static electricity, laundry day, right?
Sure.
And you're just like peeling socks out, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, then I like found some socks like in my hoodie. It was like, I go in an arm. It's
I
like,
love that.
Socks. There's socks there, right?
It's almost like Christmas, right?
Yeah,
You find,
like,
oh my gosh, I found a sock.
There's some socks in here.
Yeah.
So I'm getting all excited because I'm looking for the other pair, right? The other sock, right? And so I pull one sock out and I'm like, this is awesome. I found it. And it's like, wait a minute. And I pull another sock out. So now I have a pair and I still have this.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, yeah. But you know what happens with the socks, right?
Okay.
6 months from now.
Yeah.
You follow me here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put the camera on you.
I will follow you.
Okay. 6 months from now.
Yes.
I am going to be at a cocktail party.
Yes. Okay.
Probably, maybe shipping. Not doing that. Still got the coffee, but martini glass, 3 olives,
turtleneck.
Turtleneck,
Excellent.
definitely turtleneck.
Okay. Excellent. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. And it'd be like, oh, would you like a? Yes, I'd like a. Oh, yes,
loafers.
thank you.
Will you be wearing loafers?
Always loafers.
Excellent. Okay.
And I'll be like, they're trying to make small talk.
Yes.
It's like, oh, have you seen the latest Keeping Up with the Kardashians? And I'll be like, nope. But I do like the Dominion War and that Deep Space Nine. Love the Kardashians.
Right.
Derek. I love those guys.
I got for like 6 years, seriously, for 6 years, I got the term Kardashian and cardigan mixed up.
There you go.
They're like, hey, have you seen them? Like, yeah, I put one on last week and it was Sir Fabulous.
Yeah.
I don't know.
One is a crazy media whoring family and the other is a band from Sweden, the Cardigans.
And the other,
Malmo.
And the other is Cashmere.
I'm just always keeping up with the Kardashians because I watch replays of Star Trek, Next Generation and stuff.
You want to know how old I am? I am so old that when someone says the word Kardashian, I'm always saying, hey, wasn't he a lawyer?
He was actually, and that's actually the family.
Right.
That's actually them.
Right. That's my
O.J. Simpson.
That's my reference point, though.
Right. O.J. Simpson.
Kardashian. Chloe, whoever they are. I don't know them. It wasn't he.
But he was. Wasn't he one of the defense team of
one
O.J.
of the dream
Simpson?
team? Him, Johnny Cochran,
O.J. Simpson. Simpson.
O.J. Yeah. The glove doesn't fit
not
you much.
Simpson. Not. I'm sorry. I can't remember. There was that guy. I can see his face. Anyway.
Yeah. We can use that line. We can dovetail this from the Simpson trial into the socks. You ready?
Yeah.
Right? If the sock isn't found, it must be around.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
You haven't lost it, man.
Thank you. It's been a while. It's all been caged
if the sock
up.
ain't around, it can't be found.
That's right.
Johnny. Wow, I like that.
I like it.
Title of the show today.
I've gotten many other Cochranisms ready to.
How to work Johnny Cochran into a show graphic. Oh boy,
Right.
Yeah,
Folks, have you ever been at a loss at a cocktail party and want to know what to do? We can help you with Johnny Cochranisms.
Yeah,
It's almost like those little flip things, the ad lib stuff. Like, oh, cool.
yeah. I think Saturday Night Live did that back in like '96 or whatever. It's like we're regurgitating over 20-year-old jokes. But so I'll be there at the cocktail party.
Yes,
right?
yes.
3 olives.
Uh-huh.
A martini.
Dry, extra dry.
Dry.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Dry as the
extra
Sahara.
dry.
Excellent.
James Bond. Yeah, vodka. The gin just doesn't sit well with me anymore. It really doesn't.
The bathtub gin just doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I have stories. I can tell stories.
Ooh.
They usually always my gin stories. Usually, I can characterize certain liquor, and for me, gin is tears.
Yes.
It's always tears.
Yes.
Gin and tears.
Yes, because after a while, you start equating any sort of liquor with emotion, right?
Yeah.
Like gin is tears.
For me, vodka, I just want to call a special prosecutor. Hey,
Right. Jungle juice is regrets.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it just happens.
But I'll be there at the cocktail party, right?
Yes.
And,
yes.
you know, and it's like, oh, can we take your jacket?
Yes.
Well, yes. That would be very nice. Would you like to take it? So I'll remove my jacket. I'm wearing the turtleneck, right?
Of course. Of course.
And then, you know, I might turn around to talk to another guest.
Sticking out the
And
turtleneck.
what the hell's going to happen, right?
Right.
Right there,
Yeah.
the sock's going to be stuck statically for the last 6 months to my back. And I'll be like, oh, well, yes, I do think that, you know, the stock market will recover with my dad. And everyone will look at me and go, don't tell him he's got a sock stuck to the back of his turtleneck.
Or will they? They may look at you and say, like, oh, he's been partying. Oh, that salty dog.
Yeah.
He must have stories to tell, you know. He's got socks sticking out of his thing.
Oh, no. No, Jason, that's when you have a sock and someone's panties statically stuck to you.
That's true. Sorry, I got him confused.
And that actually has happened to me once.
No.
Yeah.
Panties sticking out somewhere? It's like,
Yeah.
well, it happens.
Well, I know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're like at work and you're like, oh, wow. You know,
and then you try to pass
guess
it
the
off
lady
as a
did the laundry
handkerchief
with
and-
my, yeah, I know.
You know.
Guess the lady did the laundry with my dress shirts
Right.
today. Boy, I
Oops.
really need to get a thing of bounce or something, you know. Cut that static cling like really bad. Or I mean, or a pant leg where you start pulling out like pretty much like everyone's wardrobe out of your pant leg.
Right.
I've had that happen before.
Right. Bandanas that you never remember if you've ever worn one in your life. You're
Yeah,
like, where
well,
did this come from?
It's usually articles of someone else's clothing.
Gotcha.
And you're like, yeah, exactly. Like,
Have you ever
oh.
have you ever done that?
It's a handkerchief, really. It's
It's a
very
fancy-
furry.
Right. Have you,
Victoria's Secret. They're selling men's handkerchiefs now.
ever looked at
Oh,
it and
man.
said, "Oh my God, I can't recognize the monogram"?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, there you go.
One night stands. It was like an hour and a half stand.
It's like,
yeah.
yeah. When
Oops.
it's some other dude's monogram?
Oh, hey now.
Oh, man.
And then they're looking at you, you know, with the martini, and they're like, he is a salty dog, isn't he?
Man, 2019 has gotten salty already.
It is.
That's pretty good.
But we've had it all
too bad.
caged up. We're like caged beasts, right?
Caged.
We're like these guys. And we've been sitting around for a couple months now on the shelf, right? We're not elves on the shelf. We're just on the shelf. And we're like bears, and we're looking down at our claws, and we're like, hey, we're bears. We got claws. Because we don't recognize it because we haven't been there in a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone who's seen the movie Swingers will get that weird reference.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
That's, what's his name? Is that Jon Favreau?
John Favreau,
Yeah. I take
Yeah.
this thing off here. Right. There we go. You can see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been weird. Breaking news. Tulsi Gabbard says she will run for president in 2020. There's your breaking news.
Huh. Interesting.
Run for president. So that's actually Elizabeth Warren,
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard. Don't do that.
No, I did.
This is like, yeah.
Well, to me, that's like she's a known quantity, right? I mean, it was like, yeah, we knew that she was going to run.
She didn't,
there was
this
no
is the
mystery.
first time, right?
Yes,
She didn't. Right. Okay.
but to me, though, she's a known quantity. I mean, everyone
was
that
expecting.
she's going to run. The Gabbard, see that?
Tulsi
is a
Gabbard,
little,
yeah.
That's a little.
Yeah. And
Provocative.
the one that I think people have been waiting for is Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
But I saw something where it's not. I read some news headline that said she will announce on MLK Day.
that
Which will be
is,
in February.
that isn't that interesting in and of itself when you choose to announce on MLK, because it isn't
too
like
bad.
you're going to decline it on MLK Day. I think that's kind of a veiled thing of folks. You know what's coming.
Yeah.
You know.
But I just mentioned it because I know you like the politics, and it was like right there.
Oh, I got so
'Cause
sick.
I didn't expect that. I did too.
Last couple of months I've been almost
believe me, yeah.
anti-politics.
Me neither. Same.
What? You're in a federal employee and you didn't get your paycheck because some guy wants to build a wall?
Well,
What do you
the best
expect?
news has come out of the best news has come out of science.
Yes.
And space. There's tons of cool stuff that's been happening there. The Ultima Thule, which I don't know, people are mad about that name for God's sake. But NASA, that New Horizons probe, the one that went to Pluto, and we saw Pluto for the first time in our lives. Wow, that was amazing.
It was.
And how beautiful Pluto was, as a matter of fact.
Right.
It was like, it wasn't even like ugly. It was like, you think, oh, okay, Pluto's out here, ugly rock. All of a sudden it's like pink. It's got a Valentine heart on it of ice and stuff. It's like, oh, hi, welcome. It's like Pluto's just this little guy out there. Hey.
You are a planet.
Yeah. And so now that same probe is almost twice as far as Pluto. I mean, it's really far. That thing's traveling really fast.
Yeah.
And it's met the furthest thing out that we've ever met in the solar system, which is this little thing called Ultimate...
Asteroid thingy or whatever?
It's a... What do they call it? An Oort cloud. See, I know this, but I can't remember the name, the classification.
That's okay. So somebody will send
but
us
it's a bunch of stuff from the primordial universe. And that's why it's interesting, because this thing was formed out there at the beginning of our solar system.
Yeah.
So it's really old, and it looks it's like it's basically two snowballs that came together. Like two big snowballs, like the size of Manhattan or something like that. I mean, it's
still fascinating.
The size of Portland area.
Yeah.
Like you can, ski on it, but
right.
But yeah, and yeah, it's there's a lot of, I don't want to get into it, but there's a lot of interesting science.
Yeah.
And Brian May.
And Brian May.
The guitarist for Queen.
Queen, of course.
Who's a PhD and has astrophysics, and he's worked on the project.
I love finding out weird and quirky facts about people that instead of you're like, oh my gosh, it's like, wow. Like, RoboCop Peter Weller being a PhD in history.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You're like sitting there like, wow, that is cool. Brian, Brian May, it's like, wow.
I had known for quite some time about Brian May's background. So I knew that he was a PhD, I think in astrophysics,
I did not have the Brian May clearance level.
Yeah, no, I knew that. It had been reported over the years. It was like a trivia question.
Yeah.
It was like, what rock and roll star has a PhD in astrophysics? And you're
like, Meatloaf?
Well, I'm thinking not Eddie Van Halen.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And Randy Rhoads isn't with us anymore. No. How about Brian May? Brian May, you're right.
Alex Trebek, I'll take Cyndi Lauper for $200. Ding.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well-known neurosurgeon, actually, Cyndi Lauper. You didn't know?
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I did not know that.
She's invented the Lauper.
It's
the Lauper.
It's a procedure. The Lauper.
What is the thing when they give you a lobotomy? The
Lauper
lobotomy.
Oh, that's wow! And it's got the cover of her album "She's So Unusual" in front of it.
Yeah. You just end up after it's done. You kind of like. You look like Jack Nicholson at the end of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but you're just humming, girls just want to have fun.
And apparently,
the girls just want to, that's all you do.
And
all
apparently
day.
They just not only want to have fun, they want to become world-class neurosurgeons.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So let's make fun of Cyndi Lauper and lobotomies today.
That's right.
Those are the words for the day. Hello, welcome.
Today's Curmudgeon Mashup.
On the telly from Leicester.
Right. That's what we should do.
We have Enid.
We should have a Curmudgeon mashup.
We should do a game show.
Ooh.
Chat show, game show.
Ooh. See, what's the weirdest thing that you can segue into something else or dovetail it back into something else that no one would ever expect?
Here's a game show that I can think of.
Yes.
Let's play Who Had the Crappiest Holiday?
Yay! Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Chet Ryback, and we're here with Who Had the Crappiest Holiday Ever?
Starring
And the crowd can go, how,
Doc and Jason.
right, how crappy was it? Well, it was so crappy.
No, I don't know. But, we don't have to. Yeah, I'm like still recovering over whatever the crud was that I had over the holidays.
Yeah.
Which was like, oh, I can't do this. And then it was like, oh, one thing I wanted to go do in the holidays, which was, would it be? Well, what would be the one thing that would bring a little joy to my heart? There's only one thing.
Cocktail parties.
No. Small talk? Are you kidding me? Did we cover that already?
Right, that's true. I'm sorry.
Let me rewind it for you, okay. Jason.
Zip.
Vodka martini, off with the jacket, sock stuck to back. Anyway.
Right. Okay.
No.
Gotcha.
I just one day go out with a few friends and see some live jazz music.
Ooh.
One thing. And guess what? I was like, okay, looking forward. So sick. I'm gonna just drink some tea and watch YouTube and go to bed. I mean, it was like, ugh, man.
Yeah, that was.
Screw the holidays.
Yeah.
And we didn't even do any shows and whatnot.
We had great plans for Christmas with Curmudgeons. We had the elf suits all picked out.
Yeah.
I trained my dogs to be reindeer.
I was desperate to do a show just because our last show was goofy as all.
Halloween, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 Space Ghost and...
Space Ghost drinking wine. That was going to be... That potentially was the last... And that was the last coffee with Curmudgeons.
Yeah.
They went out with a bang. A drunk Space Ghost on wine. Oh, that's really good material to go out with. I was like, gotta do a show here. Gotta do something, man. If
we had the movie guy, that does
desperate.
They went out with a bang. A big bang.
I always forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're like, hey, you got this great idea.
Yeah.
Chicken outfit, and then it's like, nuclear bomb. Something goes off, and that was your last thing, right?
Yep.
And that's how they remember you.
Oh, yeah.
It's as if Paul Simon's still around. He's touring. Yeah. He's doing a lot of stuff. But it's as if something bad would have happened to Paul Simon after he had done that Saturday Night Live, where he opens it up back in the 70s, where he opens it up in a turkey outfit because it was a Thanksgiving Saturday Night Live, and Lorne Michaels made him come out dressed as a turkey.
Yeah.
And it would be like, that's the last we remember of Paul Simon.
Yeah. Or you can basically say that's the last you remember of Joe Piscopo.
Yeah. Which actually, they did around the holidays. Mm-hmm. They had their whatever thing. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't that memorable.
It's like a best of sort of.
But because now they play it live on the West Coast.
Yeah. As
it's live in the East Coast. Mm-hmm. So we get it. I always forget, like Saturday Night comes on like 8 or like 8 at night or something here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Because we're getting it live. It's not time delayed, which is an interesting thing. It's something they just did new last year. And so after that, then they have to fill the 11 o'clock spot or whatever. And so then they do a classic Saturday Night Live. Oh. So over the holidays, they actually played the one with Paul Simon, Thanksgiving, where he comes out in the turkey out. And it's one of the best Saturday Night Lives, most classic.
Yeah.
And the musical guest, Paul Simon's the guy who hosts it.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
He's the host. But the musical guest is George Harrison. So half the episode is Paul Simon singing and George Harrison singing, and then them duetting on bridge over or on a couple tunes.
Yeah,
I want to say they did that, but maybe not. They're just both playing acoustic guitars and they do a couple numbers together.
Yeah,
it was one of the best classic things ever.
Yeah.
That was one of the best Saturday Night Lives ever.
Yeah.
The music alone.
Right.
I mean, Paul Simon comes out and does 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, Still Crazy. I mean, he's got the band, this was like around the time
and
he
he's
released
in his prime, right?
Still Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I think it was? I think over the holidays, he actually was the guest.
Oh, wow.
On the new Saturday Night Live. Yeah, they had Paul Simon.
Yeah, because he's doing his farewell thing now.
Yeah, and he did a big thing in Central Park over the summer or whatever. I heard all about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, on the anniversary.
Not maybe not Central Park, but one of the big in New York.
I think it was because I think it was on the anniversary of the Simon and Garfunkel reunion at Central Park.
It was a big giant thing.
Yeah.
And he came out and did some numbers, and but then they played this old one with him back in the '70s, and it was like amazing. And he was like, and then you start going, man, that guy, and then I'm having this discussion with somebody, and it's like, we happen to be talking about film stock.
Yeah.
And Kodachrome. And then I'm like, Kodachrome, da 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 da. Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's a great song. It's like, yeah, Simon and Garfunkel, right? And it's like, no, Paul Simon. And I'm like, what? And then it's like, and then I'm looking up all the, what is it? Julio down by the schoolyard. And all these Paul Simon stuff post
Garfunkel. And
I get confused. Yeah. Because I remember these songs when I was a kid, but I get confused because I'm always thinking, Simon and Garfunkel. Yeah. It's like where does Garfunkel, and then morphs into Paul Simon. I mean, by the time you get to Graceland,
it's Paul. Yeah,
it's Simon. Chevy Chase and Paul Simon.
Right.
You can call me out. You
can call me the video. Yeah.
The video. You can call me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of good music there.
There is a lot of good music. I mean, any show that you have a Beatle and one half of Simon and Garfunkel is not a bad lineup. You know? My favorite, by contrast, though, my favorite holiday thing for Saturday Night Live, and they cut it out of at least this and last year's. Right, I haven't seen it in a couple of years, and I'm deeply, deeply chagrined by this, and that is that. Will Ferrell doing the Robert Goulet Christmas special.
Oh, God.
And just for some reason, it's so corny and so whatever. It just cracks me up. It's like, hello, I am Robert Goulet. And it just sends me off.
Hey, Robert Goulet, man. It's like...
Yeah, because he's sitting on the roof, and they got a little elf next to him, and he's like got his turtleneck on, he's dressed up as Robert Goulet. He's doing some, warped version of A Christmas Carol. And it just cracks me up.
What I remembered what it was. I think because here's the thing. I remember seeing it as a kid. This episode of Saturday Night Live with Paul Simon and George Harrison, and at the time just thinking, wow, that was really good. They duet two songs. They do "Here Comes the Sun." They're both playing guitars. They're both harmonizing.
Yeah.
They do "Here Comes the Sun," and then they do, I think, "Bridge Over the Troubled Waters."
Oh, geez.
Just back to back.
Yeah.
On guitars. They're both just playing acoustic guitars, two SM58.
And they let it fly.
And it is so like when you see like some classic television music things, it's like that's one of the best things I've ever seen. Like they are so perfect. Yeah. And George Harrison, I like George Harrison.
As far he never got nearly the amount of praise just for his musicianship. I mean, he was I mean, he's overshadowed, it's like these Lennon
other
and McCartney.
Blokes.
Yeah.
These other blokes in the band.
But
damn it, Ringo, and your
that's right.
Friends.
It don't come easy. Anyway.
Your damn yellow submarine.
That's right.
What would you think if I sang out of tune? But yeah, it was like really good. That was a good bit of television, and they replayed it. And I'd watched the modern one. It was like okay, but I sat and I watched the whole episode.
But it's timeless.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
you sit
man.
there and you're like, it's like it reminds me of another SNL.
I'm telling you, go find this on YouTube.
Okay.
And listen to them just do this duet bit for like 5-minute bit on Saturday Night Live. It is like top notch. Yeah. I mean, you will just be like, just when they come out and do "Here Comes the Sun," and they're harmony, you're like, dang guys, and they're both they're both playing the guitar. Just there's no band or anything, and then later, Simon does some stuff with the band, and I do like the album. Still Crazy After All These Years. I actually like the title track. Always kind of like that song.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a
wistful sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those almost like late night barroom songs, with the keyboard. It's still crazy after all these years.
Everything's
just
winding down.
Yeah, everything's winding down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other stuff. 50 Ways is on that.
Yeah.
And some other, if I remember correctly. There's some others on that too.
I have to put my Paul Simon.
I was on Wikipedia one night and going, what, that song's on this album? That song, that, you know, it was like,
That Saturday Night Live thing reminded me of another one, only because it wasn't as profound, but it was somewhat profound for me because it was in the 90s, and Paul McCartney was on there, and during that time, it was his phase of where I'm not going to sing any Beatles tunes, don't ask me to do any of that, I will only do what I'm doing, you know, currently.
Was it Wings? Did he do Wings?
I think it was just him.
Oh, okay.
And it was at the end. He had done his songs, and at the very end, he'd come on, and he started playing the piano, and the people, and the story that I'd heard, the people even in the control booth didn't know what he was going to do.
Yeah.
And he launched into Hey Jude.
Oh.
And the whole crowd went like...
When was that? I think I did see that one.
Yeah, because he's playing, and then he just kind of morphs into Hey Jude and starts going. And everyone is just like, oh my God, you know?
Yeah.
Because at that point...
Some people hate that song.
Oh, not me. I enjoy it.
I actually, I'm not the biggest Beatles aficionado, and it's not because I hate the Beatles.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just not recognize the Beatles. And Paul McCartney.
It took me
years.
years.
I mean, great songwriter. I mean, great stuff. But there's some Beatles songs that you know, like anything, it's like, well, you may not just like know the whole catalog, or you're like not a super fan, but there's certain songs you pick up on. Like,
oh yeah, you say the words "Let It Be" and people are like, oh. Yeah.
But Hey Jude is one I always kind of liked.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it's crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. You know, it goes crazy, and it's kind of that 60s, 19 like.
And that's what he did on Saturday Night Live. You look that up, because at the end where he's like, no, and he's getting into it, and the whole crowd is chanting it, right? They're all singing along with it. I'm like, wow, that is cool. You know?
And you got to give, you know, it's like even that, but, you know, Ringo comes in and does, I mean, I think it's a classic song. What would you think if I sang out of tune? I mean, that's another one of those, they have kind of those anthems, you know? Kind of like Let It Be, like those. They kind of wrote
get along
some
with
anthems.
the help of your friends.
Yeah, just kind of like, you know, those are like songs you could sing the chorus out for 10 minutes, right, with your lighter, and just knock back another pint, you know, and just like, you know, get into a bar fight, you know. I mean, I don't know. Right. I mean, it's kind of like
you're in the East End, and you know, stuff spills out into the cobblestone streets, you know, and you know.
Get high with my friend. Come here, you bloke. Come here.
Right, and it turns into Rolling Stone Street Fighting Man right there. And it's like, you know.
Just, I mean, to me, that's the problem with music today.
Yes.
Welcome to Coffee with Curmudgeons.
That's right.
Two old guys. And the dad jokes. No,
that's the problem with music today.
Well, it's not crazy.
Yes.
I mean, we grew up in the shadow. I mean, the shadow of the '60s and all that stuff, and then the '72. I mean, then you know, and then we got Smooth.
Then we got
Yacht. Then we got Michael McDonald. You know,
right? You went from Jesus is just all right with me to, like, you know,
what a fool believes. Not too crazy. Not too crazy with that. But
nothing
but
is
they
more.
Did have China Grove though. They did have China Grove.
You see, if you read the words to that song, it does kind of blow your mind. You know, the sheriff with samurai swords running around. You know, and a sleepy little town just around San Antone.
That was before it really ended up, you know, to be like the Doobies kind of transitioned into the soft. I mean, and what's funny about that is, as I understand, because the Doobies were a big hit back then, and we would play in the band, you know, China Grove. You know, the pep band. Oh, let's play China Grove. Yeah, everybody liked that.
Yeah.
And literally it would be like, add some cowbell.
You have to. 70s music is if it's an ingredient thing,
that cowbell thing was not
Christopher Walken didn't invent that.
No, it was a real deal. So the Doobies, and my understanding of the formation of the band is remember, again, this is the, you know, what a fool believes, and, you know, going into the soft rock 70s. But they originated as a bar band in biker bars. Wow. Is my understanding is that the Doobies' origination was they would that's how they started.
That doesn't surprise me, because
Skunk Baxter.
Yep. Come on. And remember, they had for years, they would always do Sturgis. It was like a tradition. Doobie Brothers at Sturgis. So that doesn't.
They were a biker band.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
you're right, Skunk Baxter, right?
Yeah. And so all of a sudden,
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden, then you know you get to the late 70s, and it's like, and you're like, is this I mean, I wonder what the bikers thought.
Oh, good.
When they heard, you know,
Right.
they heard that, were they just like, did they just destroy? They must have just destroyed the. Who? What's that sound? That's the Doobie Brothers. That's our band. That's not the Doobie Brothers. And then started to bar fight.
I've got a new conspiracy theory now. Ready? Yeah. Brand new, newly, freshly minted. Did Michael McDonald ruin the Doobie Brothers?
I think that has actually been a question for quite some time.
I never thought about it, but you're absolutely right.
Jason, you are not the first person to ever ask that question.
I'm not the first to walk on that shore, man.
No, dude. That's been a question for like decades and decades.
Right.
Which, interestingly enough...
Did Don Henley ruin the Eagles?
Exactly. Again, this is... You know, we go back into memories, seen them. I saw the Doobie Brothers once at the big venue with Michael McDonald. Oh yeah, minute by minute. It was like that tour. See, and that's another thing too. Is for me again, we're talking about like the Paul Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
And then you kind of have the Beatles. You know, oh, is that the Wings or was that the Beatles? Yeah. I get the same thing with the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
Where it's like, is that Michael McDonald solo or was that Doobie Brothers?
Right. Yeah.
I have all that kind of. Is that Peter Cetera solo or is that Chicago?
Chicago, right? Was he in Chicago during the Karate Kid? I just can't remember. But no, he was out of Chicago.
I wish we could play copyrighted stuff on there.
So do I.
I would so play What a Fool Believes right here. And China Grove right here. First two videos that pop up. What a Fool Believes.
Yep.
And China Grove. Live.
Yeah.
I'm curious. 1970. They started in 1970. The Doobie Brothers, American rock bands. History. Oh, the band's history can be roughly divided into three eras. From 1970 to 1975, it featured lead vocalist Tom Johnston. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's isn't that the China Grove era? Tom Johnston. You know, I want to say that Tom might have been on that tour. It's kind of like that Black Flag tour when they had Dez and Henry Rollins.
Yeah.
It wasn't Black Flag, though. It was like a tribute to Black Flag. But it was both Dez and Henry came out and sang stuff. Tom Johnston. And a mainstream rock and roll sound with elements of folk, country, and R&B.
Yeah.
Johnston quit the group in 1975 and were replaced by Michael McDonald, whose interest in soul music changed the band's sound until it broke up in 1982.
Yep. Thanks, Michael.
Oh, so this must have been the reunion. The Doobie Brothers reformed in 87 with Johnston back in the fold and still active with the I swear Michael McDonald was touring with them. So they reformed in 80. So I saw the reformed Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
But I do remember, I do remember Tom Johnston was on that tour.
Yeah. That's when they rocked.
Every incarnation, the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
They were inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 2004. What the hell is the
I don't know.
Vocal Group Hall of Fame?
You mean the Doobie Brothers aren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah, come on.
Wow.
Drummer John Hartman arrived in California determined to meet Skip Spence of Moby Grape. Yeah.
Moby Grape.
Now we're talking. Now that's rock and roll.
That is rock and roll. If you're in a band called Moby Grape, you know you're going to go places eventually.
Patrick Simmons. That's right. Songwriter Patrick Simmons, bass guitarist.
Oh. Gene's little brother. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
They played around locally around San Jose. I just wanted to see here if they said anything about the biker bars.
Yeah.
You know what? It might not be in the Wikipedia. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is, right here in the Wikipedia. Because it was in an interview I read one time when I was a kid. The Doobie Brothers improved their playing by performing live all over Northern California in 1970. See, this was real rock and roll.
Yeah.
They attracted a particularly strong following among local chapters of the Hells Angels.
There you go.
See, like I said. They were sitting in there.
Yeah.
Like, and here comes the Michael McDonald smooth Doobie Brothers.
And the room goes quiet because they're like, oh, who in the hell?
Spud! What's that noise? That's the Doobie Brothers, Spike! That's not the Doobie Brothers! That's not... and then they just destroy the bar because the Doobie Brothers...
Tell that keyboard player he better shut up right now.
Let's go, Brick. We're gonna go find that Michael McDonald and break his fingers.
It's like where they have the chicken wire over the stage, where people are throwing beer bottles and it's splashing up against it. I think I've seen all of them at one point, but this should have been an episode, or may have been an episode of Yacht Rock. If you Google it, go find it. You might find it on YouTube. It's like an independent. It was like a comedy thing, independent, and it's all like about smooth rock. And the people who like kind of invented that so to speak, Yacht Rock, for a while they had a channel on Sirius XM. The Yacht Rock channel, and I just every time I listen, I'd giggle.
I sent you a couple of those, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like every Loggins takes place. First, it's Loggins and Messina, and then it's the Doobie Brothers with Michael McDonald, and all these comedians are playing like Michael McDonald, and then they play the music, and then the Steely Dan shows up.
That's what I was ready to say.
And they get into
Donald Fagen
fights and stuff. Right. It's just Donald Fagen shows up, and it's goofy. I think Dan Harmon had something to do with that. Actually, I think he wrote a bit of that.
Dan Harmon.
Harmon.
Okay.
Rick and Morty and Community and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
I met him once.
For a minute there, I thought you said Dan Hartman. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. I can dream about
I think so. But it's just it was like some indie comedy thing they did like 15 years ago. And it was just like, but anyway. But yeah, I just imagine those bikers just tearing up the bar.
Well, that reminds me of the famed concert that went wrong over in Altamont with the Rolling Stones.
Well, yeah, I know.
Hell's Angels hired as security.
That's a bad thing because the guy died.
It's going to go wrong if your Hell's Angels are your security, man. But
I mean, a bunch of guys like, what's this Peter Cetera crap?
Right.
Where's my 25 to 64?
Right. Instead of clapping, all you hear is the snick noises of switchblades being opened. Click, 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 click. Hey, those guys.
We're in a pub in London. It's like, what's that album? What is that noise? It's Love Beach by Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I don't believe it. Where's my Carnival 9?
Right. Emerson, Lake and Palmer. What do you mean electric light orchestra? Next thing you know, pints are being thrown. It spills out into the street. Bobbies come running up with their nightsticks because, they got to put it down.
Oh, no, the lonely heart, I want my roundabout.
And everyone's worried. Right, and everyone at the end is worried about the IRA showing up, right?
Every band goes soft.
Yep. Yeah.
Much like middle age, every band goes soft.
Everything goes soft. Right.
Oh, my word.
It's true. Bands come out, you had Van Halen 1 starts out with Eruption.
Eruption, and it ain't talking about love. Come on.
Yes, atomic punk, right?
How raw does it get? It's raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get like, what's that terrible one? Is it Dreams?
Oh, wait. That
that was 1984. Yeah.
But then you had Dreams. You had Dreams in it.
With Sammy
the Hagar
Hagar
version, right? Yeah.
Van Hagar.
That's what dreams are made of.
That's right. That's what it.
Yeah.
That's what dreams are made of. Every time I hear that, like in the radio, it's like, oh, what is that? It's not. It doesn't even sound like Van Halen.
No.
It's like.
The only thing that sounds like Van Halen is when Eddie does his 45-second guitar solo.
Yeah.
Then that's Eddie Van Halen.
But I mean, you're right. This is the same band that did, Van Halen 1 and 2 and Diver Down. And
I'm a Kiss fan. Kiss, Detroit Rock City, Deuce, all this stuff. I Was Made for Loving You.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Or you're right, the Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald.
Yeah.
You had Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil, or the Pentagrams.
Yeah.
And the next one's Home Sweet Home.
Oh,
and they're
man.
wearing pink.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like all bands go soft.
All bands?
Bands don't go soft.
Right. Has there ever been a band in history, just one band in history,
It gets harder.
that gets harder as time goes by? They're like, no, we're going the other way. They started as Steely Dan and it ended up at Alice Cooper, right? They're just like, boop, and
Wait, this has gone off the rails. What was that?
Yeah.
There was an album. Somebody did an album called Get Hard.
there is. In
Well,
fact,
who
there
was
is
that?
one person that done it.
Let's just.
You ready? Pat Boone.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, he's released multiple all hard heavy metal.
Well, no, I do recall that.
Pat Boone, you'll never have a bigger LSD trip than when you hear Pat Boone doing "Smoke on the Water." Smoke on the water, fire in the sky, or Crazy Train, And he tries to do the laugh at the very beginning, which is so un-Ozzy like, Ozzy, ah, and he's like, ha 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 ha. It's like, wow, he's
Oh, there was a movie called Get Hard, 2015.
Get Hard. Oh, wasn't that Leslie Nielsen? No, that
No,
was
it was your guy, Will Ferrell. And,
Get Hard. Yeah, that was Kevin Hart.
And Will Ferrell.
Yes.
What was it? That's what I was thinking of. I don't know. But you're right. It's like, yeah, bands break. Oh, yeah.
You start at the Carpenters and you end up at the Plasmatics, right? You're like,
Yes.
how the heck did that happen?
Yes.
Holy cow.
The Carpenters are,
Yes.
Karen heard like Black Sabbath and, it was like, Richard, have you heard this sound? How do I get my drums to sound that big, this mini apathy? Boom, boom, boom.
Right. Right. We've got to counter John Bonham. Rainy days and Mondays. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Oh,
Yeah.
Here's what we could do.
Do birds?
No.
Anyway.
Rainy days and Mondays.
Yeah. Rainy days and Mondays.
With
always get me down. Dun-dun-dun. Black dogs.
No. With something physical graffiti.
Ooh.
Physical.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna go like Houses of the Holy.
Is that like Cashmere or whatever? No. Yeah,
Cashmere.
Cashmere.
Yes.
And that Carpenter song.
Rainy days and Mondays and
that
Cashmere.
would fit. It would
Somebody's got to
Because
match up.
Right?
Yeah. Rainy days and
Now, here's the thing. You can go all over YouTube and find those mashups.
Yeah.
Because of software.
Somebody out there right now that's watching this or will see this,
Led
when you
Zeppelin.
visit, please do the
I
mashup.
bet you we could find it.
Led Zeppelin and the Carpenters.
I bet you we could find it.
Yeah.
I mean, I love finding those things.
Okay, Karen, we got an idea. Okay. The next album, what you're going to do is we're going to add
just find it.
heavy metal music, Karen. Karen, are you listening, Karen? Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to change your name to Wendy O. Williams. Can you do that?
Not that one.
Yeah. That would be...
The Carpenters.
We need a band to start soft
Mashup.
and then go hard.
Exactly.
Maybe start at like a boy band and end up at like just straight punk rock. Backstreet Boys turn into the Clash. That would be all right. Or New Kids on the Block suddenly end up as the Ramones. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not.
Ba-na-na.
See, nobody's got it. Got a mashup of Oasis versus Coldplay. How about Led Zeppelin versus the Carpenters?
Yes.
You just think it mashup jungle. No. Yesterday once more. No. I do like finding those mashup. Oh, here we go.
You'd have to change
Oasis versus the Carpenters.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's a playlist here. Let's just see what they've got. Okay, so here I just found. In fact, I could show this to y'all. I just found and this is the thing you need to do with your time.
Okay.
Don't do anything
Constructive?
Go up to YouTube, spend all your time on YouTube.
Yes.
And Google like music mashups.
Yeah.
And then just watch them.
Yeah.
So here we got, I'm just going to put this one on the screen here.
Okay.
Here is a playlist of mashups, 40 videos. Let me give you Bob Marley versus the Beatles, Let It Be No Cry.
Oh.
Nirvana versus Dead or Alive, Spins Like Teen Spirit. Oh, man.
That is like splitting the atom.
Britney Spears versus Metallica, Enter Toxman.
Oh.
Ray Charles versus Luanda. Enya versus Delight. Beatles versus Joan Jett versus Cypress Hill versus House of Pain versus... Yeah, actually, someone sent me one. Someone sent me a mashup. Let me just go look. Actually, just like a day or so ago.
We need to find a mashup with somebody in Guar.
Now, let me tell you what... I'm going to look on the phone here. In fact, maybe I could just pull it up here on my thing. Yeah, no, here we go.
Very interesting.
Oh, it was a scene from the Disney film The Aristocrats with a Rammstein soundtrack. It was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I don't know. I'm trying to look here and see. Billy Idol versus Pink, Oasis versus the Carpenters. That's got to be kind of interesting.
Quick side question, Doc.
Yeah.
Since you have a certain amount of Teutonic descent, let me ask you, where do you come down on the Rammstein versus Rammstein? Because some people say Rammstein, some people say Rammstein, and they get real violent over it.
No, it should be Rammstein, actually.
Okay. Because some people,
it should be Rammstein.
There are pubs that come to blows.
Yeah, I know.
Spill out into the street, you know.
It's just confusing for me because I speak American, and then it's like I also know how you and it's actually the simplest thing. If you do it all German pronunciation, it's one rule only. You're done. There isn't E and I in English goes a little bit.
Yeah. Wonky.
Well, it's this way unless you have this letter here or a C or a this or a that. There's some weird, but E and I are in German are this way or that way.
Okay.
So if it's
you always know.
Well, it's so E and I and E in German, you always pronounce the second letter.
Oh.
Always.
Okay, so Rammstein.
Rammstein, I with an I, because it's E-I, right?
Interesting.
And if it's I-E, it's E. That's it.
Okay.
That's all you need to know.
That makes perfect sense.
That's German. In English, God knows. I mean, and I always I should just do it the German way, and then if someone is like, it's like, whatever. Yeah. I have the problem with names, too. It's like, is it always...
Some will say this way or that way.
Stein or Steen, you know? It's like... And sometimes they pronounce it, and it's like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Andy Williams versus Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, listen, I know Wu-Tang is supposed to be some bad guys, but let me tell you something. Nobody is more vicious than Andy Williams. Okay?
Yeah.
That guy is pulling Molotov cocktails out of his sweater. Things... Yeah, do not take on Andy Williams. He will...
I'm going to click on this and see what happens.
Just for a minute.
Although that one sounds good. I just want to see.
Okay, just for a second.
Yeah. Oh, I guess
I can name that tune in.
Well, I guess I have to actually turn on the... This is the Doors.
That's good.
So that's the Doors mashup with
Led Zeppelin. Whole lot of love.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Let's see what this one is.
Ooh, there's a build-up.
This is supposed to be Iron Maiden versus Frankie Goes to Hollywood. I don't know. There's too much of a build-up there.
Yeah.
I was just trying to find...
Mashup shouldn't have to build up to get you in the mood. It should come out like just a sledgehammer upside the head. And
What about this one?
Oh, Europe.
Okay. Yeah, it's too much. It's too much of a. It's too much of a thing. That was supposed to be Teen Spirit.
Oh.
Final Teen Spirit.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like there's some of the intros and the build up. It's just like I can't. This is the one I want to do on here, if I can. Okay, this one I gotta hear. Okay.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, come on.
That is brilliant. I want to know your name.
Well, come on. Where's the lyrics?
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
That's cool.
Wow.
Oh, I like that. See
The
that?
teacher gives you an A on that assignment.
That's a
kid.
good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one. See, Nirvana versus Dead or Alive.
Now that's something.
I'd dance to that.
That's right.
I'd buy that for $1.
That's right.
Let's see if YouTube has killed us now. Shame on you. You're playing mashups.
They've resorted to mashups.
I like that one. I should have just played that one. Some of the problem is some of those other ones were too. They had too much.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't want to hear. I just want to hear the
They
tune.
overdo it.
I mean, that one did too. I was able to go further, but I liked that. I'm gonna listen to that one.
Yeah.
I might have to save that one.
Yeah.
But see, I like it when they're good like that.
Oh, later it's gonna be Missy. Listen to this. Missy, listen to this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm tired.
This smells like Teen Spirit. It's Nirvana with Dead or Alive.
Yes. And people are like, wow. There are people, and the ones who, okay, here's a trick. If you have the song, right, you can use a song to screen who and who should not be your friend.
Yeah.
If that person says, oh my God, dump them like a hot rock. But if someone goes, oh my God, then you know they're a keeper.
Yeah, okay, so so we're talking about the music, and we're talking about bands going soft.
Yeah.
Which apparently, it's not just that bands go soft. It's a Stephen Hawking thing. It's physics. It's entropy, isn't it? See?
Oh.
Bands just entropy.
Yeah, I was trying to look for some way to work in that
No, it's entropy.
and erectile
It's
dysfunction, but
it's science.
But it's not. You're
The
right.
music
Entropy. That's perfect, actually.
Just goes through entropy.
Yeah.
1 minute it's shooting off rays and just sun and blasts of matter and energy, and then it just we find
they could use the Doobie Brothers to prove evolution.
Exactly. Or Chicago.
Yeah, 2069, and then the
Yeah, I mean, basically,
you're my inspiration. Like
I know.
Where did we get from there to here?
Exactly. They were my band when I was a kid. I was like, I liked the Chicago. They had like
and
yeah. I mean,
they were the only horn group that's rock and roll, right?
Not true.
Well,
Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Yeah, but they had that funk, right? Where Chicago was just, they made no pretense about, they were just mainstream. Here's what we are.
You're saying what you're saying is Chicago was more a kind of a rock more straight ahead rock band with horns.
Right. They never built themselves anything other than
Blood, Sweat, and Tears was a little more soul funky with rock.
Exactly.
I would tend to agree with that. I think you're right. I mean, they definitely had. I think where they diversion sounds.
Yeah, even I don't totally agree with it, but some of it has some merit and points.
Yeah,
yeah.
It depends, though. I mean, Chicago did some really interesting experimental. The first 5 Chicago albums, which are all double out. It's I mean, they were definitely like out there with the It's
like Rush and Farewell to Kings.
Yeah.
Where it's every song is 17 minutes, and they're really pushing the envelope of what
Yeah, I mean, it's like we're kind of like Yes, but with a horn section. It's like
it's like Yes with the Tower of Power.
And Tower of Power would be the other one, and they would definitely the funk band.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I dug Chicago. I like bands. I like bands with horn sections, and they were rock and roll. They had a really good drummer, really excellent drummer.
Yeah.
Actually, probably the one guy who was responsible for me really wanting to learn to play the drums, because it was like, oh wow, you know.
Yeah.
And even in the radio cuts, they cut in a little bit of his drum solos and stuff, you know.
They always
Danny Seraphine.
They're always cutting in on drummers.
But anyway, yeah, and so yeah, and then you're my inspiration, and then you just like, you know, and then the last 20, it was like, and it, you know, and you get to be like, oh, are they still around?
Right. And then you hear they're working some casino somewhere, and it's like,
I think they still pull in a lot of stuff, but it's just, it's your dad's music. Of course, it's your dad. We're your dad's music.
Okay, I'm gonna make this. Okay,
we're your dad's music.
Let me throw out another one for you.
We're your granddad's music.
Your granddad's music.
I do listen to my granddad's music. You know why? People are sending me like Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, and Sammy Davis Jr. clips.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, I love this. Yeah.
I was thinking that my grandparents' big band. Yeah,
Do you know why?
Glenn Miller.
Do you know why?
Woody.
Do you know what's wrong with the kids today?
Huh?
You got nothing like that today.
No.
Zero.
No.
I mean, maybe maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, you can go out. You can go to the the artsy place in New York with there's the band that's there, and they do a lot of stuff. But that's like big time, you know. But like big bands, died in the 70s. Like big jazz bands. Yes, there were still some.
Who was the last remnant? Was it Count Basie?
Yeah, Count Basie. Count Basie, Artie Shaw.
Woody Herman.
Woody Herman had a band, you know, and some of these bands still. Lionel Hampton, I think, did some stuff.
Hampton?
But a lot of these bands, you know, where when old people, where they saw these bands, Disneyland.
Yeah.
Like they'd get gigs at Disneyland in the summertime.
Yep, or New Year's Eve shindigs and stuff.
I saw Woody Herman. I can't remember what band it was. I want to say it was Woody Herman. I could be wrong. I might try to look it up. There might be something online.
Yeah.
But when I went to Disneyland for the first time, summertime, the Disneyland trip, right?
Yeah.
There was some like thing, and it's like, oh, here's a band. Here's a band. It was like, I'm with my grandma.
Yeah.
My grandma loved music, so I was like immediately like, oh, I like, you know, and I like the symphony. I like it. You know, oh, it's dude with a guitar. This is lame. Oh, 100 people. You know?
Right.
It's like...
With me, it was like, you want to know where the guy with the guitar got it from? Listen to this. You know, this will blow your mind, you know?
But I mean, it's like, to me, the big band was perfect because it was like, it was more interesting than an orchestra because it was loud and they had a drum set. And my thing's not responding. Thank you very much.
And they were known as kind of like the party boys of wind instruments.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, just my thing's not responding.
Interesting. But yeah, you're right. Because I'm trying to wonder when it kind of, fully phased out, yada, yada, yada. And I'm thinking it's got to be what Count Basie in that, the last of the remnants of the echoes.
Well, there's a band, and those bands, but, you know, but the heyday was like the 60s. I mean, because, you know.
Yeah,
rock and roll.
But it also, remember, they morphed into the crooners with you know, Sinatra and them. They would have their.
You know who was keeping the big band alive?
Michael Bublé.
Lawrence Welk.
Right.
On TV.
Turn on the bubble machine.
Yeah. Hello, everybody.
Mitch Miller.
Yeah,
you know,
but I mean,
Mantovani.
But I'm talking about even into the 70s.
Yeah.
When, you know,
Lawrence Welk.
People were listening to. Yeah. You know, Led Zeppelin and Journey and stuff. It was still like, this is a lovely song from a band I just heard called The Journey.
Right. Get on the floor and boogaloo until
Any way you want it, that's the way
you get it.
A 1 and a 2 and a
3.
With the accordion. The dude with the
Purple haze running through my vein. Okay.
Exactly. I'm sure there's I'm sure we could find Lawrence Welk mashups.
Lawrence Welk, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
That's the magic That's exactly what Weird Al did for us.
Yeah.
Weird Al was the guy who turned that into comedy.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the I don't know if it was a special or a little documentary he had made early on? This was like Sarah. This is probably 20 years ago.
Okay.
I remember watching it like on HBO, so whatever. And he did this whole history of himself. And there's a part where he's actually has like the Jimi Hendrix experience. He's got a drummer and a bass player, and he's on accordion,
Mitch,
and he's playing, and then he ends up throwing his accordion down and getting lighter fluid out. I mean, he totally riffs on the whole Jimi Hendrix live thing, and then they end up, and it's like there's a drummer back there doing the Mitch Mitchell, and he's I'm sure we can find
Mitchell.
I'm sure we can find the clip, right?
Yes,
and he's like. He's got his accordion electrified and up on the amp, and so he's feeding back on the accordion. This is a whole Weird Al thing. And then he throws the accordion down and walks over and gets some lighter fluid and puts it down and kneels down and lights it on fire. He does a complete riff on the Jimi Hendrix film clip, and it's just beautiful. I mean, it's just. And then there was one. This was a different thing, and it was, remember the SCTV guys? I think it was Rick Moranis and John Candy, and they had like the Polka Brothers.
Yes.
And they did a whole like docudrama about the
For
Polka
the whole show,
Brothers.
it was,
the Polka Brothers and their history. That was some good stuff.
Yeah. I remember that. I can't remember a lot of the, but I remember it was like this whole show where they did nothing.
They were straight out of like Pennsylvania. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, we are the Polka Brothers.
The evolution
like
of
total Lawrence Welk
Yeah.
thing, you know?
Yeah. How they like lost, and in the end they broke up, and it caused deep enmity. But they come back because they share the gift of accordion music. I love it. Yeah.
Polka King.
Oh no, that's Jack Black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably
just SCTV polka. See what comes up. Because you're right. I do remember an episode. The whole episode was this strange
Schmengi Brothers.
The Schmengi
Brothers.
Schmengi.
That's who it was. They played the Schmengi Brothers, and it was called The Last Polka.
Oh.
John Candy and Eugene Levy.
Yes.
John Candy was clarinetist Josh Schmengi, and Eugene Levy was accordionist Stan Schmengi.
Awesome. Kind of like Dick and Nick Curmudgeon.
Yes, exactly. Man, in fact, one of the things I wanted to do over the holidays, for myself, to be good to myself, because you got to be good to yourself, baby. Go shopping. Not that kind of shopping. Here it is. Oh, God dang. I got to put this up.
Okay.
So good. I can see it. They just had the whole outfits and everything. You see it right there. The Schmengi Brothers.
Schmengis.
They're both wearing lederhosen.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
God, John, I mean, that stuff, I mean, that just gets me every time I see John Candy. Because how brilliant he was. John Candy was just a brilliant.
There are some comedians and some entertainers that you look at and you get, I won't say depressed, but wistfully, reminiscently sad.
Yeah, John Candy is the one that it's like.
John Candy, yeah.
I mean, it's just like, just everything he seemed to touch.
Yeah.
Just was like, he would bring whatever that John Candy thing was, he would bring in. I mean, to the point where even, early bit role, like the National Lampoon.
Yes.
Vacation.
Wally
at
World.
the end where he's the security guard at Wally
Please
World.
Stop.
Yeah, I mean, and it just goes on from there. Plane, Trains, and Automobiles is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's a John Hughes. It was John Hughes actually doing a movie about adults and not kids,
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck. That was another John Hughes movie, wasn't it?
John Hughes, yep. Yeah,
I mean,
Candy did a few.
Yeah.
And
he just was like that, he just...
There was the slap happy comedies of him and Eugene Levy, Armed and Dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, dang, it's just like, just looking at the Schmengi brothers, it's like, oh man, I remember watching that and just laughing in my head. Just because also the character, like when those SCTV guys were in character, they had like the voice, the accent, the look, the makeup. Like every single one of those SCTV people, like when they played a character, they played a character.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the character. There's no Rick Moranis here. There's no John Candy. There's just like the Schmengi brothers.
Brothers. Or John Candy doing, Mayor Oliver Shanks.
Yeah.
It just cracks me up.
I remember Joe Flaherty and the other guy, not Rick Moranis, but the other guy, I can't remember his name right now. Bob and Doug McKenzie.
Yeah.
He would do a killer Walter Cronkite. And I think Joe Flaherty would do David Brinkley.
Yes.
And one time they had them golfing on the golf course, and they're like going at each other. And it was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just like doing it, in character with the voice.
Yeah.
And you're just like, anyway, so what I wanted to do is I wanted to go to a DVD store where they sell, because like you can go like everyday music or whatever, and they have the used section, and I've seen this before, and you'll find like, oh, here's a whole bunch of Seinfeld, like nobody wants DVDs anymore, they want Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Great, get some used DVDs or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Or actually I'd like to go to the library and get them, but whatever. But I want to get the SCTV stuff.
Yes.
Because I need the SCTV.
I
need the young ones too.
The young ones. I at first when they were on, I didn't get into it much.
Me too.
But afterwards, when you look back in the retro,
and then you watched it, and then you're like, oh god, this stuff was really really edgy. And yeah. No, there's some really episodes.
Oh. You want to know something? Anyway, something that blew my mind.
We're just back. It's 20.
He's got like three or four episodes, and it's on PBS.
Yeah.
And Rowan Atkinson.
Oh yeah.
Plays a dramatic role. He plays a French detective.
What?
And it's brilliant.
And it's not Blackadder?
No, it's brilliant. I'm like, holy cow, this guy. He's always been kind of shelved as this sort of British comedian, sort of, physical Mr. Bean, Blackadder.
Yeah.
But it's like you sit there and you watch him, like, holy cow, this guy is good.
I always liked Mr. Bean's okay.
Yeah.
Blackadder though.
Blackadder was
very, very good.
That was awesome.
I like it, but what they say is it's like it takes so much skill to do comedy, like the whole characterizations. Because so when you're doing comedy, right?
Yeah.
Like the SCTV folks, you got to sell that. You got to sell. If you're just like kind of I'm playing this character, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
People aren't gonna laugh. They're gonna be like, yeah, that's great. You're just
right.
You're just doing a thing. Whereas if you're that character and doing the comedy, it's like being a clown. You become the clown, right?
Right.
You become the person.
You stop being Emmett Kelly and start being the clown. Yeah, the hobo clown.
Yeah,
Red Skelton.
Yeah, and so they say, Jason.
Yes.
They say you have to break some eggs to make an omelet. Coming soon.
Right, coming soon.
Let's quit talking and let's get cooking.
That's right.
Anyway, never mind.
I'm a carnivore. Vegetarian cooking? Doc, prove me wrong.
Yeah. It's on its way.
Yeah.
But I was selling it. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they say that if you're good at comedy, you can do the drama because you can snap in. You're so used to.
Because everyone glosses over what's comedy. It's not, but just do you know how hard it is for the true professional? I mean, ask Amanda Arnold this timing alone.
Yeah.
Timing can make or break any act, and so it's no surprise when you see actors who are like known quantities as comedians, and then they come out on a dramatic part, and it's brilliant. And you're like, holy cow. And you shouldn't be surprised, but you are,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And You know that is you've described to me the biggest difference between SCTV and Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Was the way the characters were portrayed. Is, you know, you had Rosanna Danny, you had all this classic stuff, but you're right. Candy and them and the Schmangy brothers, Oliver Shanks, the McKenzie brothers,
different show,
Guy Caballero,
different show.
Yeah,
and I think the reason they were different shows is SCTV was on Canadian broadcast and syndicated, and Saturday Night Live was late
NBC.
Night NBC,
different
right?
vibe, right?
And flat out, and just like Monty Python.
Yeah.
BBC, Young Ones.
Yeah.
Bottom line is that American television, I would say even to this day, to this very day, American television is in this box. Thank you very much. Oh, nope, don't go there. Don't go out of that box. No, we're in this box. And it was so bad because Saturday Night Live was basically a ripoff.
Yeah.
An extension of National Lampoon Live.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
And actually.
And there's some others, right?
Not for
Groundlings or something, not ready for primetime players.
They were actually pretty much.
Yeah.
Got from the National Lampoon radio hour or whatever.
Right.
But that variety format on NBC was so. And then we have to go to commercial, whatnot. But if you look at outside of the United States, it seems like there's more creative leeway, and SCTV seemed to have this more creative kind of format, which I think was. I think the bottom line is it was impossible to do in America on American television.
That is true. I mean, you can't really do character development on a live skit comedy show. It's almost improv, and you do it and you go on to the next skit.
I mean, all the, like you said, Roseanne, they had 4 minutes.
Yeah.
5 top. I mean, not even 5 minutes tops in that character,
and you can reprise it like Wayne's World and other stuff,
right?
But really, it was just the same thing in different sort of.
Yeah, I got 4 or 5 minutes, and I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay, and SCTV.
Yeah.
They would take a whole episode in those they would pretty much almost be in character, whatever character they were playing.
Yeah.
Throughout a whole episode,
or even a season.
Yeah.
The guys would certain characters would kind of almost dominate a theme for multiple episodes in an arc.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas there is no arc. You're right. There's no arc in Saturday Night.
Yeah, I think it's really apples and oranges between those two shows. Still both comedy, and still both because I do think the original Not Ready for Primetime Players, the original cast and stuff.
Oh yeah,
they were brilliant.
Yeah,
they had all been doing National Lampoon.
Yep.
Radio
SCT,
and all that.
The old SCTV improv days. Aykroyd.
Yep.
And Belushi, right?
And Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
And Chevy Chase.
Where did Murray come from then?
I think he and his brother were they were all National Lampoon.
Brian Doyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were all National Lampoon.
Okay.
Actually, if you watch the National Lampoon documentary and then the kind of the movie that they made, kind of based the same story.
Yeah,
they actually get into that about how Lorne Michael and one of them. Well, I think it was it Tony Hedra? They had this big falling out. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, one guy split.
Was Tony Hedra, the British guy who was spearheading the. They were, gone multimedia outside of the magazine. Yeah. Right. And then the magazine guys were like, well, I don't know, or whatever. And so they were kind of having all this tension, right? Yeah. Like, hey, let's do movies. Hey, let's do albums. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it's like, and you have guys like, well, we're writers for a magazine. It's like, well, we just got a bunch of stage performers and stuff, and they would do live shows in New York.
Right.
They would do actual. Then there's film in the documentary. You can actually see film of Belushi and Chevy Chase.
Kind of riffing, right?
I almost feel like Belushi did his Joe Cocker first on the live.
That doesn't surprise me.
The live National Lampoon stage show. I think there's video of it. of him doing the joke. What would you think if I think that was on the National Lampoon.
And he ends up at the very end always falling over. Yeah.
And there's another thing. I think I vaguely recall before, could have been before or after, but I feel like before Saturday Night Live launched, there was a National Lampoon comedy special, like on NBC or one of the channels.
Yeah.
Like there was National Lampoon special.
Yeah.
There was a Rolling Stone one as well.
Okay.
I vaguely remember this, and I'm sure if you look it up, you'd find it. Yeah. And I feel like that happened, and then it was like people were like, "Oh, that's pretty funny" and stuff, and then boom, Saturday Night Live launches.
Lorne Michaels goes,
Oh yeah. Oh, he very much did, apparently. Yeah. And then there was a lot of kind of like tension and falling out with the National Lampoon folks and the Lorne Michaels folks.
Yeah.
But then they went to Hollywood. And
that's history, yeah.
Vacation and, all that sort of thing. So that's just the world of comedy. And then there's SCTV.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then there's a whole British thing.
Yeah.
But,
But
Lemmings, that's right.
The Lemmings.
National Lampoon's Lemmings.
I got that mixed up with
Steve.
I got that mixed up with the Groundlings.
But that's what it was. It was
Groundlings
the Lemmings.
LA.
National Lampoon Lemmings was
there you go.
thing. And I know I swear I've seen like there's at least video clips. There might be full video, and you see like early before Saturday Night Live, like Chevy Chase, John Belushi, and they had like kind of they play music and they do kind of like a lot. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, I was too young for that, but could you imagine just going to New York, going to some place, sitting there and watching these guys live? Yeah, like there are people who saw them live. It's like, I remember before he was on Saturday Night Live. I remember Chevy Chase before he was a Hollywood star. You know?
Bits of characters would bleed over into later evolutions of other characters, and that's really where these guys worked out, the genre, and it's really interesting. But to dovetail back a little bit into the sadly sweet John Candy gets me sort of depressed whenever I see John Candy. Like, oh man, I miss John Candy.
He was brilliant.
There are others. Belushi, you look at Belushi, geez, if only, right? And the other one, the one that because he was a later guy, and so media is Chris Farley.
Yeah, Chris Farley.
And
that's the other one. Chris Farley was like, dang it, he's kind of like But I mean,
did you see Adam Sandler? He did the stand-up thing, and he actually, for the first time in a long time, he wrote a brand new song, and it's a tribute to Chris Farley. And it's sadly sweet. He talks about Farley in the song, and there's like things in the background of showing highlights and things like that. And you look at that, and you say to yourself, this whole thing's going on. I'm listening to it, and I just come away with, man, I miss Chris Farley. The
thing with. So John Candy was that was the one that was like, oh dang, it just was like, but the thing, I don't want to sound,
because he wasn't,
I don't want to sound mean or anything,
but he wasn't rounded up in drugs. It wasn't surrounding of something that you knew, like, okay, I can believe this guy OD'd because he'd lived in a certain life.
Just going to say that was kind of like when John Belushi died, everyone kind of, even just people, I mean, it was like, it's like, it was like when a rock star, people were like,
Janis Joplin drops, and not too many people are like, geez, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, exactly. Lot of, there was just kind of like an underpinning that John Belushi was pretty wild.
Right. And you expect that that's the end for someone who lives that
and that's not, and that's...
Because that template had been borne out again and again and again.
And it's not an excuse, and it's sad to say, and it's not like something where it's like...
It doesn't make it any, to me, it doesn't make it... To me, it makes it almost even a little more tragic, because, man, you had this huge gift.
Well,
it just ended,
It's like, hey, man, dude, you're worth so much money.
Right. And the world
Put down the crack pipe and maybe hire a personal trainer. It's like then he becomes Joe Piscopo, right?
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like it sounds so bad, but yeah, the John Belushi one was like, oh damn, he was really funny.
Yeah,
but he like what you saw on the screen seemed to be go home.
You're right. The live fast, die young sort of ethos, whereas John Candy was Family Man.
That he was kind of.
He was your cool uncle guy, or just part of the family that just was just a genuinely brilliant guy, And yes, John Candy. Makes me pause.
It's interesting too because Belushi's remembered, and watching this National Lampoon stuff. Like if you go back to the documentary, the archives, you go back and you look at John Belushi. He, like what we know of John Belushi coming out of Saturday Night Live and all that is that physical, crazy, Animal House, the Blues Brothers, the just over-the-top physical. He was seen like John Belushi.
He's Bluto.
Cast him. He's the wild man,
Yeah.
And what's interesting when you go back to the National Lampoon days is he was writing a lot of the comedies, and even in the earliest Saturday Night Live, his comedy wasn't all that crazy out there stuff.
Right.
It was actually just pure comedy, and it's kind of sad that again when you talk about ending like that was the last show when he was wearing drunk on wine and wearing the Space Ghost costume. It's sort of like. Belushi kind of his memory is that
time
out
capsule
there. Really, like if you I think still, you may say the Blues Brothers or I think Animal House. If you think of what comes to mind when you think of John Belushi, right? Or the Joe Cocker thing, where he's like going crazy,
Samurai, whatever it was,
right? Tearing stuff up. It's always like physical comedy.
Yeah,
that's what you think of him in. His death,
right?
But if you really go back, it wasn't. He had more range than that.
He did, and in fact, if you look at his, I'll use the word again, arc. If you look at the arc in his body of work, you can see just before his death, the years, couple years of just before his death. I think he was honestly trying to get back to that. And people are saying, geez, Dick Curmudgeon, how can you say that? I'm going to throw out one movie.
I know where you're going to go with this. I know
Continental Divide.
Continental Divide.
Yep.
Continental Divide, written by.
Yep.
Is that Hunter Thompson?
He had a piece of it. Belushi had a piece of it, and there's a third guy I can't remember. But there actually is.
Continental Divide, yeah.
And folks, go out if you want homework for the weekend. Go out and watch that. You see a whole different side of John Belushi that just today it's just never thought of, And that's sad too, because same thing with like Farley. He's forever known, and I think he did a lot of physical comedy and stuff. But my thing is, who knows where that guy would have gone in his comedy, the arc of
I'm looking this up because I wanted to see. Continental Divide is a 1981 American romantic comedy film starring John Belushi and Blair Brown.
Yeah.
It was the first film produced by Steven Spielberg's production company, Amblin Entertainment. Lawrence Kasdan wrote it.
Okay.
Of Star Wars.
Yes.
Fame. Lawrence Kasdan.
But there was something else that contributed with it, though.
A Chicago newspaper reporter. I think it's kind of based on. It's based on Hunter Thompson.
Yeah.
I think the character is based on Hunter Thompson.
The kind of gonzo journalist.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a plot. A Chicago newspaper reporter, Ernie Sauchak, is investigating a corrupt city councilman after doing an expose on some corrupt land dealings by the councilman. He's assaulted by two police officers sent by the councilman and ends up in the hospital.
Sounds exactly like Hunter S. Thompson at the '68 convention where he gets.
So Kasdan wrote it and directed by Michael Apted, and produced by Spielberg's company.
Yeah.
But Kasdan wrote it, but I seem to feel like they had kind of based it on.
Yeah, but there was another. I'm gonna have to really do some deep research, but there was another contributor that you wouldn't
They just
think.
close the page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but Continental Divide, yeah, totally. I mean,
And that was 81, and he died in 82. So
yeah,
good point. Good point.
he had
I didn't
started
think about that to try and like, yeah.
more well-rounded kind of. I'm no longer in my 20s or 30s.
Well, yeah. I mean,
stretching.
this is the whole.
And the times were
This whole
starting.
thing. Had they survived, where would they be today?
Yeah. Yeah, and the
It's
times
like,
were getting totally different. Again, those movies like Animal House and stuff in the real late 70s, early 80s was starting to move into the range of when you get into the mid 80s, it's all teeny bopper movies, Real Genius, Val Kilmer, whatever. Or sometimes you can
I
even
liked early
point
Val
to
Kilmer.
I love I love Real Genius, yeah.
And I like Top Secret.
That is my favorite out of all the airplane and Naked Gun and all that stuff.
It is mine too. I mean, airplane. I mean that
guy gets beaten up. Latrine.
I know.
And the cow with the boots. That still doesn't.
I know. So my guilty pleasure. It came. I remember it came out when I was a kid. We went to I was like in high school and went out with my friends to see it. Actually, we'd seen the previews at another movie. We'd go out to the movies on Friday night, what kids do, what kids don't do today. Like, kids don't do anything today. It would suck being a kid.
It's no longer in the theaters. You're meeting up on a server somewhere to play video games.
Yeah,
together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd go out, and I remember we went to see a movie, and they played the preview for Top Secret, and I was like this when I saw because the trailer was excellent.
Oh yeah.
And it was from the makers of Airplane and was the Naked Gun out? No,
this was
that wasn't
in between.
In between
it's
the creators of Airplane and I think Kentucky Fried Movie was the first movie.
I think
And I remember I was like this, like because I was crazy. I still am after all these years. Exactly. And I turned to my friend, and he looks at me like,
"Oh my God!"
No, and I go, "Oh my God, I gotta see that movie." Oh my God! And it was because, like in the trailer, all of a sudden he's Nick Rivers, the rock and roll star, and he's technically singing for the East Germans, which are all pretty much dressed up like Nazis.
Right.
I mean, and it's like, oh, this is a movie made for my comedy sense, right?
Yes.
I mean, being a kid who grew up on Hogan's Heroes, and all that,
other
and
friends,
rock and roll.
Other friends of mine would sit there and go like this. Me, when Nick Rivers is singing "Cutting a Rug," I'm just, this is great.
I know.
This is awesome.
I was like, I am so in this movie.
Or the love song, where he keeps trying to off himself. He tries sticking his head in an oven, the background guys playing, upright bass. They're pulling them out of the oven, It's just
the end of the trailer. The end of the trailer for the movie is, and they throw scenes in the end of the trailer of the movie. Was this love scene between Val Kilmer and the lady, and I don't know who played it. And they're going back and forth. It's like, I'm a rock and roll star who happened to come to East Germany and meet and I'm with the resistance because there's the resistance. And they're going back and forth, and they're like, close, like ready. And she goes, "It almost sounds like a bad movie." And then they turn to the camera and break the third wall. And that was it. It's like, I'm seeing this movie. This is my movie. And my friends were just like, oh God, you can't tell me a movie just did that. It's like, that movie did that, and this movie comes out, I got my ticket.
Right.
I'm going to see Top Secret.
Yes.
And then I saw it, and I saw it with my girlfriend at the time. I think we saw it more than once.
Oh, yeah.
It was like...
Yeah, that's one of those movies that you repeat because you get into it. I mean, my favorite...
My girlfriend thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend at the time, I guess I had a girlfriend at the time, I remember she was just like, that was really funny. It was like, isn't it? Isn't it just, I don't know, my kind of humor.
And the thing that didn't do really big at the box office made it even more special. Like, it was your own secret
it's a cult movie now.
Oh, yeah.
It's a cult movie, and
yeah, some of my favorite parts
I have my copy of it.
I have it somewhere burned on DVD.
Yeah, no, I have. I bought I showed it to Offspring once, and they were pretty shocked.
Yes, Top Secret. I love that.
But
names of the Resistance people. My two favorite is Latrine and Chocolate and Mousse. I love that.
I know, and it's just every And then, but it turned out like I found out like the newer generation, the Naked Gun hit pretty well.
Yeah, it did.
And
Leslie
when I
Nielsen.
watched that movie, I mean, you say, well, did the movie age well? Yes and no.
Right. And no. OJ?
Nordberg.
Nordberg didn't age.
That did not age well.
Yeah.
But outside of
But he ruined Nordberg for me. Because Nordberg was a cool character. You're like, yeah, Nordberg's funny.
But he's
and
also kind of like just like, I mean, he luckily just gets injured and they kind of put him off. Yeah. So then it's just pretty much Leslie Nielsen and George Kennedy.
Right. And Priscilla Presley.
And Priscilla Presley, who is fantastic in it.
George Kennedy. Yeah.
And it was his partner.
He's the old 70s, big knotted tie, polyester suit,
And Ricardo Montalban.
Yes.
Is a heavy. And it's just like, I remember we were watching The Naked Gun, and the whole just scene where he meets Ricardo Montalban. Do you like my pet piranhas? And then the pen goes in there, and he's like trying to get and then he's got the fish on the nose.
Right.
And I mean, and then there's always the Dick Curmudgeon jokes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Involving ballet dancers in Top Secret, and involving a statue and a Leslie Nielsen escape, which, honest to God, when your kid is just about old enough to get
broke off something, right?
Yeah. It's hilarious, and then he's escaping, and then he gets in the window because he's like escaping some dire thing, and then he's got this stone in his hand, and it's in this lady's bedroom.
Yeah.
And he's like a cop. It's like, I'm escaping. I'm a cop. I'm okay. And he's shaking this thing at this lady. And she's like freaking out.
You're a pervert.
Oh, my God.
No, lady. I'm a police officer.
And it's Leslie Nielsen playing. Leslie, talk about a brilliant actor. Yeah. And he's just playing it straight. And he was never a comedy actor.
No, his early 50s and 60s, he was a real serious kind of heavy dude.
And it was all his television roles. He was like one of the earliest Columbo episodes. Leslie's one of the heavies. He's always like a heavy. And you know what really groundbreaking, which is actually... somebody was talking about this the other day, and they were right. This is really, to this day, groundbreaking. And I don't have a copy of it, and I'd love to get it like on a Blu-ray or something. Stars Leslie Nielsen as the captain of a starship.
Oh! That's I'm foggy, but it's
a movie that is.
No.
Is Robbie the Robot?
Lost in Space?
No,
that's not Lost in Space. It's crap. I got a brain thing, and it's not. It's
Walter Pigeon. I can tell you all the people in it.
Not Lost in Space. Robbie the Robot. Black and white.
Actually, I think it's in color.
Yeah, later ones. Robbie the Robot, and
I think it was like 1959.
I know somebody right now is watching this and they're screaming, "You idiot!"
I know they're always going to do
this,
that.
And I'm like,
they're always going to do that. You know why? Because we can't think of anything. God, look at all these movies he did.
I'm still listen, folks. It's hard for me to.
They don't even have it on this list.
I'm still in the top. I'm still thinking Top Secret.
They don't even have this on the list.
Okay, you're gonna have to give it to me.
Forbidden Planet.
It's one of those things like, okay, yeah, I get it now.
Doggone it.
Yeah, Robbie the Robot. I got the reason why I got Robbie the Robot mixed up with the guy from the robot Lost in Space.
Yeah, exactly. Which the Robbie the Robot prop did appear in Lost in Space.
Okay,
it appeared. Apparently, it was like a very expensive movie. Like the props. I mean. You look at it today. They
would double use, recycle things.
Well, no, you look at it today and you go, because it's like a 19. What year was it? It's an old movie, but it's early. It's like Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
The War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Day the Earth Stood
Day
Still.
the Earth Stood Still. I mean, these were all like kind of contemporary.
Yeah.
It wasn't Star Wars,
But it was that.
or CGI. You know. Apparently it cost a lot of money because they built like Robbie the Robot.
Like when the Earth collides or something like that.
As a matter of fact, I had found recently, like in the last year, they auctioned off some props from Forbidden Planet. Like there was like a little car that they drive around that they actually built, and it went for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, because you got to have it. I mean, something like that.
You know what? I feel like
it's like the time machine of H.G. Wells.
Oh yeah, look at this.
The Big Bang Theory.
Forbidden Planet, 1956. You know what the budget was on that? Is this adjusted?
Maybe what, $3,000?
No, 1,968,000.
Oh, okay.
Well, the box office is 2,765,000. Let me just see here. I'm curious. And I've been dying. I need to. Maybe I can rent that on YouTube. I use the YouTube to rent stuff. $3 a movie.
Okay.
48 hours. Well, I got YouTube. I got a YouTube account.
Yeah, mine has been lately. It's been Amazon Prime.
You're on the Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
You have to pay for that, like.
Oh, speaking of
monthly or whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of a absolutely brilliant show that you have to check out is the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
You know, I have heard of that, and I was going to look it up. Someone just mentioned that.
Oh, it's brilliant.
And that's on Prime, right?
Yeah, it takes place in the 50s.
Yeah.
One of the characters, re-emerging character that comes back over and over again is Lenny Bruce.
Yeah, people have been saying a lot about that.
Oh, I love that show, yeah. That
I just don't want to pay for a million different things.
True.
So here it was MGM, Forbidden Planet. Here it is. Later, many costume and prop items were reused in several episodes of the television series The Twilight Zone.
Okay.
Including Robbie the Robot.
Yeah.
At a cost, here it is, at a cost of roughly $125,000. This is $1956.
Yeah.
$1955. Robbie the Robot was very expensive for a film prop at this time. It represented almost 7% of the film's $1.9 million budget. You know, $1.9 million in
1956. Yeah, it's got to be.
Damn it! Come on.
See, 1,056,000.
Yeah,
money?
1956.
What, 9 million maybe?
1955-ish. Yeah. I don't know how long it took them to
film it. 10 million.
Well, that's I don't know.
Yeah.
That actually equates. Robbie the Robot equates a $1 million in 2017. So building that, I saw the whole thing about the car when it was up on auction. Like somebody had posted it. It was like Boing. Actually, I think it was like Boing Boing posted the auction, and of course, like online in the auctions, they'll show you lots of details about what they're auctioning off.
Yeah, and
they had this whole detail of all the because all the electronics worked in the props, so lights and stuff. We're talking 1950. We're not talking. We're not talking like integrated circuit chips, LEDs. We're talking vacuum tubes and light bulbs.
And if you look back wires. What was going on in 1950s TV, Jack Benny and other stuff, that's quite a leap. What would have been restricted to radio a few years earlier is now able to translate on the at least small screen. Yeah,
Forbidden Planet and The Day the Earth Stood Still, I think, are two of the greatest things. And the thing that fascinates me about Forbidden Planet is
so when worlds collide or when Earth collides, it's like when the moon collides into the Earth.
But with Forbidden Planet, Leslie Nielsen and the crew are I can't remember which one it is, but they're members. I think they're members of Starfleet. Yeah, or the Federation, but I think it's Starfleet. I think it's Starfleet. They're members because they land and they meet the guy and they're like, "Yeah, we came from Starfleet."
Is this like an early Roddenberry thing or something?
It's not.
Or is it just...
maybe Roddenberry might have got the idea. I mean, this is well before Star Trek, but they are kind of Star Trek-y. Like the crew is kind of you kind of Leslie Nielsen's crew is kind of slightly reminiscent of, oh, this is kind of like the crew of the Enterprise, you know, and they're exploring and they're landing on a planet to check up on the people on the planet, and they came from Starfleet, you know.
Interesting.
So I always found that humorous when I would. Walter Pigeon is Dr. Edward Morbius.
Edward Morbius. You know, speaking of Gene Roddenberry.
Anne Francis as Alteria Alta Morbius.
Ooh,
she's
there's a name for you.
The young ingenue. Leslie Nielsen is Commander John J. Adams. Robbie the Robot as himself.
Right.
Trying to think. Jack Kelly, isn't it? Earl Holliman was the cook. A young Earl Holliman. Trying to remember who else was in this movie. Anyway, but it was
I get something that's
cool movie.
Totally off topic.
And that was Leslie Nielsen, so there you go.
Totally off topic. What's the time?
What time is it? It's 6:30.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. I just,
I know it's. We probably should go.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. We're just.
I think the wife's sitting out there.
Yeah, we're just chatting here.
She's probably like looking at her device right now, like, I am sitting out there.
All right. No, I mean, I think we covered it. We covered the mashups. We covered. I mean,
Yeah.
We're on the lookout for sock.
That's what he called it. Instead of like in the case of the purloined sock, it could just be called the second sock.
I'm telling you, right? Just right here. It's like, why yes, I'd love to have another kind of hay. It's like, don't tell him he's got a sock statically stuck to his back.
Folks, now next show I'm going to act like I'm mopping my brow, and out it's going to come a pair of panties. It's going to happen.
Dude.
It's going to happen.
I'm sorry I brought that up.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's called foreshadowing.
Oh, brother. The life and times.
Yeah,
of
Dick
Normal.
Dick Curmudgeon, Dick and Nick Curmudgeon, that's what they're doing. They're out there on the, they're on the tip of the spear of everything hard-boiled comedy.
There's so much to talk about, but, whatever. We'll do it later. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good to see you.
And we will return.
Excellent. Bye.